Chapter 2. Return. The new Kamedake was still on Jirai. Although bubbles had formed around it due to its high energy output, it was still inside the adjustment tank. With Seina's body as the biological key, Seina alone was the first person to transfer inside of it. Is this the bridge? However, it was dim, so he could hardly see inside. Perhaps this was the center of the bridge? An egg-like unit on a pentagonal table was faintly visible. The only light source was a faint light that was just barely floating above the middle part of the floor and the steps leading to it. Is that a switch? While paying attention to his feet, Seina carefully went up the stairs, but he tripped over the top step as he got on it and fell over the upper floor. He got up quickly and moved in front of the central table. If I touch this, will it shock me? The light of the egg-shaped unit made him think of a plasma ball lamp, the ones with the metal ball in the glass, and it discharged to the glass part when you touch it. Seina took out some gloves and put them on and carefully moved his hand closer. But he stopped just before touching it. Nothing appeared to be coming out of it. Seina took off his gloves in relief and placed his hand on it. Seina. The moment Seina put his hands on it, the lights turned on in the bridge and Kariko was transferred in. Irma, NB. Get ready to get started right away. Without looking around the inside of the bridge, Kariko made a beeline for the center table and placed her hand on the authentication plate on the table. Her hand was scanned and around the chair a force field went up. She started checking a monitor with a keyboard that started up in front of her. However, what's this? The required programs aren't installed at all, Kariko said in a loud voice that echoed in the bridge of the Kamedake. Really? Life support and environmental controls seem to be working perfectly. Irma, how about you? I can't make heads or tails of this. I can't do anything, but everything seems to be manually operated. Irma said in confusion. What's the matter? As I expected, we already have system problems. We can't take it out into the field like this. Amain shrugged her shoulders and then looked up at the ceiling. Seina also followed Amain's line of sight. This is a strange bridge. It's small. But it seems like a mineral version of royal ship, doesn't it? That's a good way to put it. From what I can tell, many of the facilities of this ship are stored in several different subspaces. Most of the bridge of the Kamedake was made of stone and crystal, and had the shape of a pentagonal pyramid as a whole, but there was a monitor plate on the ceiling, and the height of the ceiling itself was very overwhelming. It's about 30 meters tall, don't you think? But something seems strange. I wonder if it's just for decoration. Amain, I think that it might be a movable plate. The bridge changes shape to suit the usage situation. Irma said. Oh, I see. Anyway, why is there no manual control system? I feel like if I press the wrong thing, something awful could happen. Do you think Sito knows anything? Let's see. Kariko said, and so they called the Mikagami. Sita-sama. When Seina entered the ship, wasn't that girl supposed to be born? Minaho tilted her head while looking at the Kamedake. That's what Washa said, but this is Seina we're talking about here, right? Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call from Kariko. Kariko appeared on the monitor. I understand what's wrong already. I'll contact Washu on Earth immediately, but I need you to get started on escorting Neju. I wish we could, but the ship won't move. Really? It should work just like the original Kamedake. The original Kamedake. I know that is a bit unexpected, but yes. Okay, I'll try that. Don't worry, the legendary philosopher Washu created it. It's just how she intended it to be, so don't worry, nothing is wrong with it. Kariko left the conversation. NB, are you able to give me any info on how to use this ship? If you confirm access permissions to this ship's database, I can download that data right away. Go ahead, start the data transfer. Irma lightly toggled a switch while Kariko said this. Wait, what? Irma cried. What's wrong? Kariko asked as the gigantic monitor plate that was on the ceiling descended loudly and a dandelion of light was projected on it. What's going on, NB? Is the ship going to go out of control? No, I don't think so, but I'd like to install the Kamedake's data. Do it. Geez, what's going on with that screen? It's like it's playing a 5-hour movie in 30 seconds. A quick flicker of light took about 30 seconds before it finished in the same way as it began. As it booted, system checks were displayed quickly as it verified each system. That's a lot of checks, Kariko said as she watched them. Installation and link complete. Really? That was fast. All required programs and data are installed, and hundreds of millions of systems checks and bug checks have been finished. Are you kidding? Is this a joke? Data on that scale was usually time-consuming to process. Kariko had expected it to take 6 hours to complete and expected to have to ask Sito for even more help. Kariko, are you okay? Sana was worried about Kariko and how she seemed a bit startled. I'm sorry, I'm just amazed at how fast that happened. Well, that's just what you should expect from the legendary philosopher. It's a good thing the Kamedake One's programs and data are compatible with Washu's OS. This should be a piece of cake. No doubt that must just be the tip of the iceberg of what this thing can do. I'm sorry, but when will we be departing? Neju asked. Oh, sorry, we got carried away. We can leave as soon as I do a final check. Oh, good. Come on, everyone, get to your stations. Sana and Amain put their hands on a console panel just as Kariko did. Well then, I'll just sit here. Neju touched the remaining console panel without hesitation. Neju's body was scanned and she sat on a chair that changed to suit her. I'll go here. Please stay off the table for now. What are you talking about? I am an important unit of a ship, aren't I, Master? That tiny egg seems very important. NB. Shut the fuck up and find somewhere else to stay. Fine, I'll just float around here. NB, who judged it dangerous to aggravate Kariko, decided to wander around the bridge aimlessly. The ship has received the instructions successfully, planning phase is done, completion of plan data confirmed. Planning a course normally took about an hour. Tens of thousands of plans were presented. What do we do? Irma looked at Kariko with a confused face. Show the optimal solution. That's what's being presented right now. Irma answered. Wow, this keeps surprising me. Kariko said with a look like she was about to weep. Hey, if these are already the best, how do we pick the best one? Amain called out to the calm Kariko. Checking tens of thousands of plans would take forever. Well, I was. Amain, let me think. Oh. Let's leave it to the captain. Oh. Before we leave, I should tell you that we're not allowed to engage in encounters with space pirates. Neja said calmly. Wait, what? Sana stood up. You don't have to worry about it, it's okay. I agreed to this happily. Sana was confused. Why? It's a secret for now. Her tone was somewhat grown up. It seemed like Neju said that like an adult would to a child. Kariko and the others started to feel a sense of incompatibility in Neju's youthful appearance, which didn't suit her demeanor or the look in her eyes. But Sana seemed fixated on Neju. Why are you being used as a decoy like this? You're practically the same age as my younger sister. Don't be so worried about it, big brother. I believe in you. You protected Sito's package. You can do anything. Neja stared at Sana while smiling cutely while hugging him. Kariko had on an angry expression, and so did the others. Their temples began throbbing with anger. Although their expressions remained gentle, their silent rage made the bridge very quiet. Well then, let's do our best to meet your expectations. Captain, choose a course. Kariko said calmly, but she looked like she would explode at any minute. Oh, yes, right. Sana quickly concentrated on the mission and picked out a plan. It was 1 hour after Sana got into the Kamedake 2 that the final check was completed, and they set out for space. On the monitor of the Mikagami's bridge, the appearance of the Kamedake going up into the sky of Jurai was reflected. They've managed to set sail safely. They're not by any means safe. Sito looked at the monitor with Minaho as Hakurin and her girls stood behind them in a caged-off area clawing at the cage. I hope they can finish this mission successfully. Will you tell me what's going on? Hakurin asked. Come on, Sito, could you please explain it me? Jai Kirin begged crazily. Her eyes betrayed her beautiful appearance. She had a dangerous atmosphere about her that one wouldn't want to approach. Before I can do that, I have something to do. Can it wait till after that? Is it that complicated? Just tell us. Karen said, surprisingly upset. However, Hakurin remained calm-looking, as did Swearin, who was just not good at making facial expressions. Oh! It's more complicated than you'd even imagine. Sito looked back at the four of them while backing up and stopped at Swearin. Why are you focusing on Swearin? Minaho decided not to get involved, But as she watched the situation, she commented as much as she could without irritating the situation. Well, of all of them, I'd be most worried about her because she doesn't have much of a presence, so I'm keeping an eye on her to make sure she's in there. Shouldn't you be more afraid of turning your back on Jayakiran? She is too strong an atmosphere for that. It's easy to detect her movements even without seeing her. Sito laughed with a dry voice that had no emotion in it at all. Don't you think you should just give them a detailed explanation? There are some errands I'd like to finish before I do that. But you can't go anywhere like this. I'm fine. Besides, Jayakiran won't get past this cage. Sito's body began to shine as she transferred out. You're just going to use a transfer gate to get away? I doubt that will stop Jayakiran-chan. Minaho said as Sito transferred out. All of Sito's subordinates could easily deduce her destination. However, they couldn't do that easily if they couldn't physically access the gate itself. Analyze what you can from that transfer. Predict her destination. Jayakiran ordered the operators as if it were their jobs. Normally, the Mikagami's resident operators were higher in rank than Jayakiran and would only take commands from Sito, Minaho, or the captain of the fighter fleet. Still, they didn't want to end up hurt for opposing Jayakiran in her current state. Not even Sito wanted to go up against her, so really it made sense. But, as expected, they hesitated and turned to look at Minaho for a bit to apologize to her. And then they immediately started working together as if she had given them the sign to go ahead. Knowing the situation, they knew they wouldn't be punished for helping. We have 34 possible transfer locations. Narrow them down to places she would go. The Sito Victim Association is on it. Behavior pattern analysis is in progress. We're considering both her recent and past behavior. Wherever she's gone, we will find her. Although they were her subordinates, there were a few members who didn't think of her as their boss, and this exposed their true nature, really vividly. Minaho sighed and bowed her head deeply as she watched the happily traitorous operators.